My clubs usually hold autocross events at a variety of venues during the season. But due to the pandemic keeping some sites closed, they've done a lot of events at the airport. It's always fun attacking the vastly different courses that can be set up at one site. But new venues and new surfaces force you to make adjustments to your car and your driving that will improve your ability to set up your Mustang and hustle it around the cones. Sometimes, a new site means running a big horse on a small course. And that might make you want to stay home. But if a course is designed correctly, our Mustangs will fit through every element. This event is being held at a 0.4 of a mile banked oval track. The potential for wet weather is keeping us off of the banking, so we're only using the petite patch of pavement on the infield. And because there are buildings and barriers, the course is quite compact. The course design is relatively simple, but because the elements are closer together, some elements are hidden around corners, and there's a section I have to go through twice, I need to anticipate what's coming and attack accordingly. Course walks, looking ahead, and thinking ahead are key at this event. It's always important to run a tight and tidy line on any autocross course. But on a compact course, going wider makes it even easier to hit cones, DNF, or add time to your runs. My plump pony doesn't always like to maintain the tightest line, so I need to keep my 2000 GT from running wide. But being tight and aggressive can lead to understeer and throttle-induced oversteer. I'll have to balance traction and technique to stay clean and find speed. To help with traction, I've adjusted my suspension and my air pressure strategy. I've softened my Takiko 5-way adjustable front struts from 2 to 1 to prevent understeer. And I plan on lowering my air pressure to 25 psi sooner than I would on a more open course. Statewide COVID-19 protocols had been eased at the time of this event, but attendees were encouraged to take precautions based on their individual level of risk. I'm only up against one other car in Cam T. It's about 90 degrees and a storm blew through 30 minutes before my runs. The course has wet spots and some standing water, but it's drying quickly. The sight lines are limited from the starting line because the timing trailer is beside me, and the buildings in the infield will block my view of the elements as I come back through the center section of the course. My tires are set at 29 psi for run number 1. .702 plus 1. I was extremely tentative on that run. I spent way too much time off of the throttle. My Rival S 1.5 tires don't like wet surfaces, especially when there's no heat in them, and I got sideways coming out of the second sweeper. I went too wide the second time through the top sweeper, and I hit a cone. The run was pretty bad overall, but big mistakes allow for big improvements. I need to raise my level of aggression, be more consistent with my inputs, tighten up my line, and stay clean on my second run. I've lowered my air pressure to 26 psi for run number 2. .906. A clean run that was 1.796 seconds faster than my first run, not including the penalty. There was much less hesitation on that run. Wherever possible, I used partial lifts off the throttle to shift weight to the front of the car instead of lifting all the way off the gas and tapping the brakes. With more heat in the tires, the car felt firmly planted in the dry areas. I was still too far off of the cones the second time through the top sweeper. The car's momentum is pulling me wide, and that's adding distance to the course and time to my runs. I need to be tighter and more aggressive, and to do both, I've got to make an adjustment that adds grip. I've lowered my air pressure to 25 psi for run number 3. Usually, I only go down to 25 psi on my last run if I think I can get a bit more out of the car. With my old tires, it didn't always translate to a faster time. But early results suggest the Rival S 1.5 tires are faster at 25 psi. 44.254, 0.652 seconds faster. The course is drying off quickly, which means I can attack harder. I'm trying to roll onto the throttle earlier and extend my duration of acceleration, but finding that perfect balance between traction and technique is tricky. You can hear me feathering the throttle at points during the run, and I'm still going too wide the second time through the top sweeper. But the runs are clearly getting smoother, which is good. I've got one run left, and I really want to get into the 43s. I've kept my air pressure at 25 psi for my fourth run. 44.037, 0.217 seconds faster, but not enough to get me into the 43s. I made small improvements in tightening up my line and increasing my duration of acceleration. I was also much more aggressive heading into the finish. I definitely wasn't as fast as I wanted to be, but was I fast enough to beat my CAM-T competitor? First place by 1.306 seconds. And my raw time ended up being 21st out of 87 drivers. A lot of people refer to small courses as Miata courses, and that creates the myth that 79 to 04 Mustangs can't do well at sites that require elements to be close together. But mods that allow you to reduce understeer are authorized in every SCCA category, and anyone in any category can adjust their air pressure and their attack strategy to adapt to a compact course. If your local clubs run at smaller sites, don't let that stop you from getting your horse out on course. My next autocross is at another small site that I haven't been to in over a year. I'll post the results from that event soon.